Hello everyone, my name is Loko and welcome to another StarCraft 2 video. Now what I got for you today is a top of the line match of professional Zerg versus Terran. This is going to be a best of 5 series where in game number 1 we are starting off on 16-bit LE. Spawning here in the top right hand corner of the map and playing with the blue Zerg drones. He's the current world champion of StarCraft 2, meaning that he won last BlizzCon, and he's also widely considered to be one of the strongest players in the game right now. He's playing with the blue Zerg drones, he's from South Korea, and he goes by the name of Rogue. And his opponent spawning in the opposite corner. I mean, I've covered this man many a times on this YouTube channel before. He's playing with the red Terran SCVs, widely considered to be the most dominant StarCraft pro of all time. Of course, we are currently looking in the main base of INnoVation. Alrighty, so this is going to be a very high-level match of Zerg versus Terran. Now, in game number 1, usually from both of these players, we would expect a little bit more of a macro focus. Looks like INnoVation, indeed, is gonna go for that very quick in-base expansion. This is one of the reasons why a lot of Zerg players don't really like playing on this map necessarily. I mean, you can obviously take the third base right over here if you are the Zerg. Usually Zergs will try and expand outwards just because of the way that creep spread functions. But the thing, of course, is that if you play on this map, you give your opponent a very easy time grabbing 3 bases to mine from as well. And usually if you're a Zerg player, you want to try and avoid that. Plus on top of that, there's this really tricky, I guess, dead space in between the in-base expansion as well as like this low ground over here that allows the Terran player to drop into that main base as well as that in-base expo very, very easily and early on into the game as well. So actually, some of the times that I've seen players play on this map, I personally actually have it downvoted right now on the ladder, but some of the times that I've seen Zerg players play on this map, they just simply skip the in-base expansion altogether and just simply expand down the bottom section of this map. Maybe you will expand towards this as a 4th or a 5th base and then take this as like a 5th or a 6th way later on into the game just because of the way that drop play happens. Regardless though, let's figure out what both players are going for in this particular match. We're seeing that Zerging speed coming up already from a Rogue. He has decided to leave the drones inside of that gas, interestingly enough, so we'll have to keep an eye out on whether or not there's gonna be for Novatized Carapace or maybe a quick Lara or maybe something a little bit more aggressive. But on the other side of the map, we now see that the Overlord is scouting out exactly what's going on. There's a barracks with a reactor as well as a factory. So Rogue right now, definitely just by seeing the timing here on both the factory as well as the reactor, he will know that this is going to be a command center first from our Terran player in red. Now, by the way, as you may have already noticed, I've got a bit of a stuffed nose right now. My voice sounds just a little bit more funny than it normally does. Yeah, it's just, you know, what it is right now. I've got a bit of a cold, so apologies if my voice sounds just a little bit different. Now, Zerglings are still waiting for a Reaper that never comes. Instead, INnoVation is going to go straight into the Hellion production and right now also into that starport. So the starport is going to be up quite early on as well. This is good for a couple of reasons. Of course, you can send, for example, Banshees across the map, but it's also going to be phenomenal if the Zerg player decides to go for example, a little bit of Ravager cheese. Now, we do see Novatized Carapace finishing up in just a couple of seconds. That means that nothing that this Terran player has is going to be unnoticed. Here we go. At this point, the Rogue knows that neither the starport has been switched over nor the barracks, so that does mean that there's not going to be a tech lab on this starport. So more than likely, it's going to be either either going to be a Liberator or, of course, a Medevac. Stimpack now coming up. Now, I like this a lot. Look at that. INnoVation going for the double Cyclone. Cyclones actually have come back into the meta a little bit more. We used to mostly just see them whenever it was going to be mech-based play. But yeah, look at this. INnoVation is going to go for the Medevac and then 2 Cyclones into it while transitioning towards Bio. So a really cool kind of playstyle here. Something that you wouldn't normally expect in 2018 so far. This is one of those recent developments. Now, a couple of Hellions trying to be a nuisance here. Zerg did decide to go for that in-base expansion, but Rogue definitely could be in a little bit of trouble just because of the way that this functions, right? I mean, obviously, if you can put the Cyclone right there in the middle of a mineral patch and, well, as that Vespian gas guys, you can do an awful lot of damage. Just the surface area alone can definitely slow things down. INnoVation, though, does decide to pick up before he can really take any kind of critical damage. He could try and maybe go after one of these Overlords, or he could group up with these Hellions as well. Nicely done. Looks like the Hellions, yeah, will be deflected. One of them actually ended up dying there, but the Medevac is gonna try and swoop back in, but so far, Rogue looks like he's got this defended quite comfortably. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we see INnoVation now transitioning towards the 1-1 upgrades. There's now also, of course, the switch around with all of those reactors as well as the tech lab. So very, very standard, straightforward kind of mid game, but a bit of a different early game in order to get to that position. Now, usually though, letting Rogue just do whatever he likes is a little bit tricky. Rogue is very well known, in particular for his late game control. The way that Rogue controls, in particular like Infestor, Queen, Viper, and then all of the other late game units, like the Spellcasters of Zerg, it's at another level. Like nobody really manages to control those units as well as he does. He's very good at the decision making in the late game, and usually if you're going to be the Terran against Rogue, you really want to try and end this before Rogue is going to be able to play that maxed out late game style. He's really good at just simply defending, and then eventually overwhelming you once he gets to that late game kind of army composition that he likes so very much. Pretty late upgrades here, all things considered. Rogue did decide to go for a much quicker bailing speed here than you would normally expect, but that does mean that the evolution chambers are a little bit later. So nothing all too upgrade focused so far by Rogue. Instead, he's gonna now have to fight up against a Terran player who's also unupgraded here for the time being, other than, of course, Stimpack, but this does mean that he's got a very, very powerful Zergling bailing composition here early on. Big scan there, though, will get rid of a lot of those creep tumors. A great move by INnoVation, actually, really slowing down this Zerg player quite a bit. Losing those creep tumors is a really annoying thing to deal with if you're a Zerg player. Now, here we go. Bailings do not have their speed upgrade just yet. It's going to be about 10 or so seconds from finishing. Infantry, weapons, and armor are just about to finish up for INnoVation. He's trying to target fire down all of those Bailings. Look at that target firing. Absolutely phenomenal, but it does mean, though, that there's just a little bit too much Zerg, and since INnoVation did go really deep onto the creep, Rogue will be able to deflect this one with his 4th base still intact, and of course, a lot of economy as well. We did not actually see the Spire coming up. I like this a lot. So Rogue, rather than going for Hydraling Bane, he decides to go for Mutaling Bane instead. This was the gold standard in StarCraft 2 for a very long time, ever since the Thor got buffed up. Thor's basically received another armor upgrade, meaning that they're gonna be just a little bit more tanky, and on top of that, they also got a little bit more range on their anti-javelin attack. So it's pretty scary. Now here once again, though, we see a lot of the Zerg units rolling forward, trying to go after the majority of this Marine siege tank medevac-based army. Looks like all of the, all of the scary units here from the Terran player will be picked off. INnoVation just simply stands there. He tries to hold his best, but he apparently did not quite have enough units. Normally, we don't really see those kind of moments from INnoVation, right? This looks a lot like INnoVation returning to the other side of the map with a tail between his legs. I mean, he kept the majority of his medevacs alive, which I guess is nice, but this right now definitely opens up the mid game here for Rogue. He's gonna be able to do whatever he likes. So rather than going for a lot of drones immediately, which is what you usually see from Zerg players at this level, usually they will finish up droning to like 80 right at this point, he decided to go for a lot of mutas here first. So that's 9 mutas already, with a couple more joining the battlefield here in just a bit. They have been completely unscouted, and look at this, since mutas are not currently the standard in the metagame of StarCraft 2, I don't see any missile turrets here whatsoever. There are going to be a bunch of Marines, obviously, but here we go, mutas are going to be able to swoop into that in-base expansion very, very easily. This is something that INnoVation will finally pick up on right now. He's going to be able to do a little bit of damage on the other side of the map, but now these Marines are going to be here mostly defensively, and the mutas escape with all of their life intact. They're going to be able to rapidly regenerate that HP count without any issue whatsoever. Still INnoVation, all things considered, even though he lost 8 SCVs, he definitely managed to deflect that army without losing all too much either. Rogue playing very careful. He could have jumped into the main base as well, right, to try and pick up as many kills as he could, but then he would be potentially stuck here in this bottom left-hand corner. Instead, he decides to return all the way back towards the natural and loop around, but it turns out there's already a missile turret finished up there for INnoVation, so great crisis management here by our Terran player in red. Really not making any critical mistakes. Sure, he skipped out some missile turrets, but right now, there's no way that these mutas are going to be able to really do anything. He still actually does not make any in the main mineral line. That's quite cheeky. There we go. Mutas are still going to try and pick off that. Yeah, there we go. They're going to still try and pick up that missile turret. They will be able to do so. Now, currently, the Terran army is moving across the map. They do have +2/+2 upgrades. They are finished right now, quite a bit before the Zerg, although Zerg is currently in the process of finishing that. 5th base will not be cancelled here by our Zerg player here as well. That does mean that INnoVation is going to be able to move a little bit deeper onto the creep. But now that the Mutas are returning back home, I think that Rogue is making himself up to potentially take on this Terran army. At the same time, though, now that there are a couple of Thors out, I don't really know exactly how this is going to go for the Muta play. Still, INnoVation cannot go home, right? There's no way he can unsiege and just simply try to go home. There is one Thor here already. It's going to be able to make it pretty difficult for these Mutas to engage properly. You will have to try and magic box. Rogue, that is, but this is still a really scary Terran army. Here are all of the Zerg units, though, trying to get into position. These rocks are not knocked down just yet, and Terran is slow pushing forward with both the Liberators as well as the siege tanks. But here we go. The Zerg swarm is smelling blood. Trying to move forward right now is Rogue. He's gonna target fire down that one Thor, and all of that Terran army gets absolutely decimated. INnoVation was slow pushing there, but I think it was just a little bit too slow. With all of those Mutas, Lynx, and Banes out on the map, Rogue basically prevented his opponent from really getting that reinforcing army across as well. Great positioning there once again on those Thors now by INnoVation. INnoVation, while he lost a big chunk of his army, he's still getting himself the 3/3 upgrades. He's still going up to 4 bases just fine. But we are now getting into that late game territory, which is where Rogue is such a scary, scary player. Actually quite interesting. We see 2 Spore Crawlers over here, but not in the main base. Kind of cool, right? You could technically just swoop in through the center. Same could be said here for the Terran player, I suppose, but it's really difficult to make that decision, obviously, if you are the player at this point in the game. That is 15 Mutalisks. That is 15 more than you would normally see. Sometimes we would see players make like 3 or 4 Mutas or so and try to force out all of those missile turrets, but this is actually looking pretty good for Rogue right now. I really like this position. Right now he's at Hive Tech. He's going to be able to transition towards Adrenal Glands here. Once again, try to poke into that natural mineral line, but here we go, right? INnoVation decided to go for a couple of Thors, and he's now using those Medivacs to make those Thors a lot more mobile. Obviously, it only takes a couple of volleys of those Thor Javelin missiles to pick up all of those Mutas. And even though they do regenerate rather quickly, this is not quite an engagement you want to take. Ultra Cavern now coming up here for Rogue. He's going for a massive counterattack now, though, that the Terran army is caught across the map. There are still a lot of defending units here available for INnoVation as well. And while INnoVation wanted to move back there for just a bit, here come the Banelings. Terran army very deep onto the creep. A lot of those units will be picked off. But here's the real strength of Mutaling Bane, right? It's that mobility. Hydras are not quite as mobile as Mutas, and all of those Thors are being picked up with relative ease. That means that those Mutas are going to be able to go after all of those Medivacs as well. The majority of the Ling Bane army is still alive. They gotta try and pick up as many of those Terran units as they can. And once again, we see Rogue smashing that Terran army. And he's now making a transition towards a lot of those Ultralisks. Now, Thors, they are surprisingly good, right? I mean, the Thors are surprisingly good against both Mutas as well as Ultralisks. So they are pretty decent against pretty much everything that Zerg has in the late game. I'm curious to see how this is gonna play out. We still see a massive Marine Marauder-based army, of course, out here for INnoVation, but no Ghost switches, no Raven switches, not a massive amount of Liberators here either. So this could get a little bit crazy pretty fast. A lot of those Terra units are trying to hold the front door, but now with these Mutas helping out as well, this is going to be pretty tricky. A lot of the units coming in from that 4th base as well. Nice micro there by INnoVation. He will be able to prevent the majority of that army from being blown up by those Banelings. And while a couple of SCVs were picked off, I think that was one of the main fights that went heavily in favor of INnoVation. INnoVation holding his ground there, transitioning towards a really strong army, and now that 3/3 upgrades are done here for Terran, I think that INnoVation can definitely go for a very aggressive push. Couple of Medivacs caught out on the map. Mutas trying their best to pick it up, but at this point, it looks like no additional Mutas are being added on. Instead, we see INnoVation now facing off against a lot of Marines, Marauder, or rather against a lot of Lynx, Banes, and then also Ultras. But look at this. Are they even scouted at this point? No, he doesn't know about the Ultra Cavern whatsoever, and right now you will see him, but I don't know exactly how this is gonna go. Siege tanks desperately trying to siege up, or I guess it's just a singular siege tank. A lot of this Marine Marauder army is being blown up right now as well, and at the same time, Zerglings and Mutas are going in for the counterattack. That's 7 SCVs there that ended up dying. Still, these Ultras, while they are going to town, they are being picked up as well. A lot of them are desperately running low on HP, but this beautiful counterattack style from Rogue seems to be just a little bit too much. Rogue dealing a lot of damage here already, once again trying to not overstay his welcome, although it does look like he may end up losing those Mutas here once and for all in just a bit. He did just once again pick up a massive chunk of that Terran army, and right now, right, look at this, Rogue is gonna take control of the entire map. This is something that he does extremely well. This is one of those recurring things that you will notice from top-level Zerg players. As soon as they gain an advantage in the late game, they go for a heavy amount of bases. Basically, if one expansion gets picked off, it doesn't really matter because they just simply take all of their drones towards a newly acquired base instead. And that's one of the key hallmarks. It's really difficult for INnoVation to begin that comeback right now. He needs a really good engagement. And having his medevacs picked off for practically free, that's not the start of it. At the same time, though, a lot of that Ultraling Baneball is now engaging the Planetary Fortress. Planetary will be picked off as well. A lot of Banelings now rolling in from the back as well. And that was an absolutely brilliant execution there by Rogue, who is the one who obtains victory here in the first map of this series. Alrighty, and apparently the second map will bring us to Darkness Sanctuary. Easily the biggest map in the map pool right now, and usually a map that people like to play rather greedy on. Now, what are the things that we... No way! Oh, are you kidding me? I was just gonna bring this up. One of the things that we saw INnoVation do recently in a series that I uploaded where he played against Solar was play very aggressively 2 games in a row after he ended up going down 1-0. In case you're interested in that video, I guess I spoiled the first map for you just now, but it's still definitely worth watching. I'll go ahead and link it down below in the description of this one, because look at this. INnoVation decides to go for a proxy barracks, and I think this is going to be a triple proxy Rex in the center of this map. Now, even if you put your buildings down in the center, that's still a very long walk for those Marines. No gas is coming up for INnoVation, so he's going to go for an all-out assault. The thing is, this is a 4-player map, so he doesn't actually know where his opponents spawned. I mean, I guess what he could do is send 1 SCV after building the barracks towards the bottom left, and then 1 towards the top right, or I guess towards the top left, it doesn't really matter, and then like... You know, he should be able to exclude the different locations and then figure out where his opponent spawned. Obviously, though, you do kind of rely on your opponent playing super greedy. Rogue going, I think that was a 17, 18, 17 here. So nothing all too crazy here from our Zerg player in red. But there's no denying that this map is absolutely massive. Right? This map is absolutely humongous. And even if this is unscouted, which it likely will be... I still highly doubt that, you know, like, Rogue is not, like, you're still gonna be in a good position, right? As long as you don't play super aggressively. Here we go, though. SCV's now scouting the naturals of both of the other corner expansions. I think that INnoVation, oh my god, that is a lot of SCVs, though, right? He's gonna be able to start building bunkers with, like, 3 of them. The Marines still waiting here in the center. They're gonna wait for a buddy. Everyone needs a buddy. Now they walk, they walk while holding hands towards the top left-hand corner where they know the Zerg species spawned. At this point, though, I mean, Rogue should know what's going on, right? Yeah, Rogue should have a decent understanding. He was actually looking to take a third, so maybe he doesn't realize what's up. 2 bunkers now coming up near the front here of the natural expansion. There's immediately a spine crawler here for our Zerg player as well. 1 Overlord trying to take some of that beating too. A lot of drones pulled from the main base. Zerglings being picked off, though. That's already one of the Zerglings going down for practically free. One of the bunkers taking critical amounts of damage, and that one will be killed. INnoVation, though, still has the other bunker ready to go, and this is still going to be tricky. A second bunker will once again come up. Obviously, the further that this creep expands, which will slowly happen, the more difficult it's going to be for our Terran player to get a proper connection. Beautiful micro there by our Terran player, though. He will be able to, oh my god, Rogue that is. He will be able to actually pick up both bunkers before they finish morphing. That is literally 1 second before it finished. And while INnoVation does still have a lot of Marines, he doesn't have the safety right now of those bunkers to fall back into. I think if this bunker would have actually finished up, he would have been in a phenomenal position. Right now, it's a little bit awkward. That Spine Crawler and those Queens, they're going to have an easy time picking those units up. I mean, yeah, there's no SCV coming here anymore. That's 3 SCVs that went down in total. I think that Rogue actually did this. How much was that, though? Like 1 second, right? I think it couldn't have been really more than like 1 or 2 seconds here at most. That's still a lot of Marines, though. Until Link Speed is done, they're gonna have free reign of this natural. Link Speed is just about to finish. We see non-stop Zerglings here coming up, but here we go. Rogue finished up his metabolic boost. He's gonna try and get this round of those units. Stutter stepping those Zerglings right now is our Terran, or is our Zerg player, but still the boys have been pulled. INnoVation is here to close this game out or lose in the process. All of the drones are now also fighting. They're pulled from the main base down towards the natural expansion. Workers are dropping like flies, but I think those queens, man, those queens are providing a lot of value, and Rogue is the one who obtains the victory here in game number 2 as well. Alrighty, so here we have map number 3 of this best of 5 series. Now, Rogue is currently 2-0 ahead. So, I mean, we've seen this before though. INnoVation, is he gonna do it again? Oh, dude, are you kidding me? Where is the INnoVation that I know and love? I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a brilliant style, right? I mean, it's like years of work leading up to this moment. So here's the thing. INnoVation has always been known for playing his macro game. But in the last 5 games or so that I've casted of him, he's cheesed like 4 of them. And they're bunker rushes with Marines every single time. It sounds so dirty because he's widely considered to be the best macro Terran player on the planet, but he keeps doing this. He keeps doing this. Now, this overlord actually though. Oh, are you... Oh, well, that's a massive tell here from Rogue, right? Rogue should know roughly what's going on. Then again, what exactly are you gonna do? Rogue apparently has decided to open up with the spawning pool first, so there's gonna be quite a bit saver here from our player in blue. The thing is, though, even if you go for the spawning pool first, rather than the hatchery, you're not gonna have to creep on the low ground nearly as quickly, so the bunkers can scoot quite a bit closer. Yeah, so this is once again gonna be an all-out, all-in. Look at this. INnoVation splitting up those barracks. He did this against Solar too. Oh, man. What a tricky player to go up against. This is what makes him so difficult to predict though, right? Because obviously this is from an online tournament, but you know that if you face off against him, and Rogue is very likely to face off against, for example, INnoVation in the GSL, right? In the GSL Code S, because they are both phenomenal players and they are both very likely to make it to later rounds. These kind of games are going to be playing in the back of the head of Rogue, right? If he were to go up against INnoVation, he knows that his opponent cheesed him many games in recent days. And obviously in the GSL, he mightn't necessarily go for those kind of styles. It's still something that continues playing in your head, and it's just this really strong mental game that will keep on happening. Well, there we go. First bunker, what we picked off. Obviously, though, that's a lot of workers that are not mining. INnoVation, he's just gonna back up with the bunker a little bit, and he's gonna try and keep this alive for a little while longer. That's a lot of lost mining time already, though. Now, the drones and the Zerglings will be able to pick this off once again. Keep in mind, if Rogue wins this game, he wins the entire series. It's currently 2-0 ahead. Second bunker now coming up near the front though. And this one is going to be in range of the hatchery. Queen is out right now. No second queen coming up. So this is just going to be Zerglings as well as their metabolic boost upgrade. That metabolic boost upgrade is going to be far later as well, considering the build that our Zerg here went for. And this actually looks really... Oh god, dude, this looks really good for INnoVation. Right? Sure, he's been slowed down a lot, but now with that bunker finishing up in the back... All of a sudden, the Marines will be able to enter just fine. Link speed is nowhere to be seen just yet. The Queen desperately trying to help out as well. Another bunker here near the front, just about to finish. And while the Zerglings do manage to get us around right here on that bunker in the back, they're going to be able to just simply unload and go into the next one. INnoVation with the cheeky play, showing us why hatchery first is definitely a good option against this kind of style. I think you want to go like 16 hatch and then like 16 gas, 16 pool or something, because... Finally, INnoVation manages to pick up a game, and apparently it is now 2-1 in a best-of-5 series. I mean, I was ready to cast for about an hour and a half or so, but, I mean, we're cruising through these games. Usually, about an hour and a half seems to be good for a best-of-5 series. Dude, are you... Dude, no way. Are you kidding me? Dude, no way. Is he really gonna proxy Rex 3 games in a row? Yeah, that's not an SCV timing for a scout. Oh my god, INnoVation. What have you done to INnoVation? INnoVation, please, what have you done to INnoVation? Dude, this is okay. So INnoVation, let me get this straight. Strongest macro Terran on the planet goes down 1-0 in game number 1 against both Solar as well as Rogue, and then he decides to just simply cheese. I mean, this is... The third game in a row where he's going for a proxy 3 Rex, right? And I mean, the only reason why it really didn't work out in game number 2 is because he had the SCV get sniped when the bunker was at like, you know, one second from finishing, and also because it was on Darkness Sanctuary. I mean, I don't actually blame him. If it wins a game, it wins games, right? What are you gonna expect? Now, what exactly does Rogue have in mind, though? Once again, he decides to go for that pool first, into the extractor a little bit quicker, though, this time around, and then also that low ground expansion. One of the other observers says, Inno, please. It's so dirty. It is so very dirty. So, wait, so 3 games in a row, we're gonna see cheese. Now, obviously, if INnoVation wins this one, right, and he's in a good spot so far, if INnoVation manages to win this one, is he gonna do it again in the next game? Because that's what I'm really curious about. This is so dirty. Like, the mind game that INnoVation is playing right now, though, is ridiculous. Already is Rogue playing an inferior build to what is the gold standard with Hatch Gas Pool. Already, this is an inferior build. Now, obviously, Rogue at this point knows what's going on. Once again, decides to pull a massive amount of the workers. You know, also build a spine crawler there at the top of the high ground. And he's going for a much quicker metabolic boost. This is exactly what you need to do if you're a Zerg. Still, this all comes down to micro. And while Rogue is phenomenal when it comes to micro, so far, INnoVation has looked a little bit stronger in that regard. Plus, that's a lot of drones, once again, not mining, right? That's a lot of drones, once again, not mining. Second bunker now coming up a little bit closer towards that natural expansion. INnoVation is going to be able to, well, at the very least, keep this one alive for a little while longer. It looks like Rogue wants to go after those Marines instead. He does manage to get this round on at the very least one of them. Not quite what you want to have happen. INnoVation looped up those Marines and Vaseline before they left the barracks. That means that, it's a little tricky to say. Looks like one of those bunkers may be able to finish up, and obviously with that one in range of the second one, all of a sudden that one may actually also finish, even if the Marines there are in the background. Oh, man, the spine crawler is gonna finish rooting here. This is still anyone's game. INnoVation trying to finish the bunker. It does finish there, just barely in the nick of time, and that means that Rogue is forced to uproot that spine. Immediately though, upon uprooting, the Marines are gonna try and pop out of the bunker once again. I think INnoVation has done it. I think he's done it. I mean, that spine is dead. There's no queen to be seen anywhere anymore. Marines, well, it's not done just yet. Marines are going to try and back up into the bunker once again. That's another couple of SCVs now coming across the map. The majority of the Zerglings will be able to pick up the kill there on those bunkers. Bunker near the front does end up dying, but the one here that was a backup bunker, the one that was initially meant to make this a little bit easier, is still there. INnoVation pulled the rest of the boys. He's probably just mining with one mule and then one SCV as well, apparently. He's now salvaging the bunker to make more and more Marines. Spine crawler in the back still actually taking a huge amount of damage. He's already picked up 5 kills. Marines do manage to target fire it down there eventually, but that's still 13 SCVs that ended up going down. If somehow, some way Rogue manages to hold here, he's going to be in a phenomenal position. Then again, that's a lot of Marines. There's still more and more coming up here as well. There's a natural expansion for Rogue, but I think he's going to be in a world of hurt. The Marines now backing up towards the safety of that, oh my god, of those mineral patches. And even though it looked as if Rogue was going to be able to hold there for just a little while, Rogue seems a little bit triggered here, right? With the late GG. INnoVation just cheesed 3 games in a row. It didn't work the first time. It did work in game number 3 and game number 4, and that means we are headed to game number 5. So the real question is INnoVation gonna do this one again right now? He's done it 3 times in a row. So far, I mean, I'm just holding my breath. He is... Are you kidding me? Seriously? Okay, no, this time around it is gonna be just for a... Okay. This time around, it is just gonna be for Supply Depot, but on the other side of the map, oh no, Rogue! Rogue decides, oh my god, Rogue has had enough. Rogue is 13-12ing his opponent. So that's the 13 extractor into a 12 spawning pool. Rogue? There's gonna be a full wall off near the front. Oh my god, INnoVation playing next level mind games. He cheeses 3 games in a row. Right now, Rogue probably already thought by himself in you know, the 3rd game and then the 2nd and the 4th as well, like, you know, there's no way he's gonna cheese me, right? And in game number 4, there's no way. What are the chances that INnoVation, best macro Terran player, is gonna cheese 3 times in a row? Well, apparently, he thought those chances were rather slim, and right now he's had enough. He's going for the 13-12. Oh, God. I wonder if Rogue is a little bit triggered. Because this, I mean, there's gonna be a full wall here near the front. Right? There's gonna be a full wall. There's even an SCV scout right now for INnoVation. INnoVation is playing this out brilliantly. So he's going for both the Reaper as well as the SCV scout. That is extra safe. That's what you do when you are, you know, pretty much convinced that your opponent has got something cheeky up their sleeve. Well, there we go. The SCV will now see that there are indeed a couple of Zerglings already moving across the map. Link speed is coming up. Rogue is going for non-stop Zerglings. He's ready to shut down a 3-Rex proxy. The thing is, there's no 3-Rex proxy at all. INnoVation still going. Oh my god, he's so confident. Still going for the command center there in the main base. There's now a barracks coming up here as well. He does need to go for a wall, though. He does need to go for a wall. So far, no wall to be seen, but there we go. The Reaper is out, and that Reaper is going to have a couple of seconds before link speed is finished. Another SCV will now be headed to the front. Reactor coming up, and with that... Oh, my God. No way. That is so dirty. That is so dirty. And maybe that was a little preemptive, though, from Rogue. The thing is, he's playing one base against the Terran who's got 2 command centers, one of them an orbital, and then obviously also 5 more workers already at this point. You're going to be playing from behind, and I do think that is something that Rogue can do, but I've got a feeling he's a little bit triggered. I've got a feeling that some of the Zerg players in the YouTube comment section are going to be a little bit triggered as well. My god, INnoVation. What have you done to INnoVation? So, INnoVation never cheesed. I could count the amount of times I've seen INnoVation cheese in like the last 7 years on one hand. Until like the last couple of months. In particular, over the last year or so, INnoVation has been mixing it up a lot. But this is next level. That was so very, very dirty. I hope you enjoyed watching this game. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button down below if you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload future videos. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.